Well, good afternoon. This is Marian Gallantly, and I am back to Fashion Flair Friday. I was off last week, having a lovely little mini vacation with my family up in Tahoe, where, oh my goodness, that place is just so beautiful. And the first couple of days it was snowing, and then the last 3 days it was sunny. So it was just absolutely perfect to be away. Now, what I've also noticed is that people are really getting back out and about. I don't know about you. I hope you are. I hope you feel comfortable doing that. And we're back meeting in person, we're back to networking events, we're going out to dinner and to lunches. And this past week, I actually had an opportunity to go to two networking events, which really brought to light this topic that I want to talk to you about today. And that is, can you judge a book by its cover? They say that you can't, but I'm wondering, can you? Do you? Or how about the curb appeal? If you're going to be considering buying a home, do you pay attention to the curb appeal? Well, maybe it's just me, but I do. I pay attention to curb appeal all the time. And I even think about, okay, as people are going to walk to my front door, what impression are they going to have as they approach my front door? So I don't know if you do those kinds of things. I do. Put it in the chat if you, or here I'm thinking Zoom, put it in the comments area and let me know if you think about whether you judge a book by its cover or whether you judge a home that you might be considering by its curb appeal. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today because I observed in these two networking events that I think people still think they're at home. And I just wanted to, have a conversation about that. So, yes, we're now back out and about. And we have to think about how we're going to show up. So I always like to start, as you know, with a little something that I like to read out of a book that I have sitting here on my shelf. And this book is called Make Your Connections Count. And there is something in here that says people often take things at face value. Within seconds of meeting you, they judge you based on your appearance and presence. Even though we don't want to admit we do that, we do that. It's human nature. So once you make these first impressions, they are nearly impossible to change. In Blink, The Power of Thinking Without Thinking, published back quite a few years ago, Malcolm Gladwell concludes that in this age of information overload, the experts often make better decisions with snap judgments than they do with volumes of analysis. Therefore, making a good first impression is important. I encourage you to take control of how people perceive you from those first moments of seeing you and meeting you. So, how do you feel about that? Do you notice that you pay attention to that, or that you take note of that? Or am I the only one that takes note of that? I'd be very curious to hear your opinion on that. I think first impressions are really powerful. And I remember my mother used to say to me, Mary, you may never get a second chance to make that first impression. No, you don't. So let's make it the best that we can. Another one of my colleagues, Lauren Solomon, says she wrote a book called Image Matters. And she said, you are the CEO of your life. Whether you've just joined in, you are leading the team, or it's your name on the door. This isn't a dress rehearsal. Every night is opening night. Image determines how you see yourself and ultimately how the world sees you and your company. Image matters. Your image matters. It matters to everyone you meet, whether they tell you so or not. Aha. Okay. So, if you have any thoughts about that, I'd love to hear whether you agree with that. Do you think image is important? Do you think first impressions are important? Um, and I thought what I would do is share with you just a couple of things. When I first started my um, image consulting company back in 1991 now, I was doing most of my work in corporate America. And so this topic was always a very big topic. The companies always wanted me to come in and talk about the importance of first impressions and how their employees could make sure that they were making a positive first impression. And a lot of it has to do with your body language and with your physical appearance, how you show up, your body language, how you're dressed, how you're groomed. That really comprises a great majority, a great percentage of what people base their decisions on before they decide, do I want to get to know this person better? Or do I feel like I really can't relate, so I'll move on and go talk to someone else? So I think I spent many, many years talking on this topic. And of course, in the last 10 years, I've really been working more with entrepreneurial women, professional women, where it's not been as big of an issue. But what brought this all to light for me was this past week going to these networking events. And I thought to myself, I wonder if people still think they're at home sitting behind the Zoom camera in their joggers or in their, leggings or in their yoga pants, whatever the case may be, and have forgotten that now they're back out in the public arena where they're interacting with other professional people. Now, I think what I want to say is that there is appropriateness for every place we go and everything we do. So there are three criterias that I'd like to share with you. Let me just get my notes here. So, kind of the professional or personal image standards of dress. Is it appropriate? Is it attractive? And is it neat? That's all you have to think about. So, is it appropriate for the situation in which you are going to be finding yourself? So, are you going to a networking event? Are you getting together with a bunch of girlfriends for a cocktail? Are you going out to lunch with friends? Are you going to be presenting on stage? What is it that you're going to be doing? And then, of course, what's also important is where do you live, the geographical location of where you live, because we have different standards in the country. So some of us are in pretty casual areas here where I live. It's very, very casual. And yet we've got a lot of successful people in this area. But there's a way to be casual and yet, be professional at the same time, that business casual sort of look. And people, I think, oftentimes they hear the casual, but they forget there's an adjective in front of the word casual, which is business. And business is really the driver. So you also have to think about the industry that you work in, the field of work, maybe the organization or the occasion. So that also, taking those appropriateness for those occasions is a big thing that you have to put into the equation. Also, appropriate for your job level, or your position, or your role in the company or on your team. Are you the leader? Or are you maybe somebody that is new to the company and you are following the leader and you want to take direction from the leader? So, as the leader, you have a responsibility to step up in a slightly higher level of dress and a higher level of appropriateness. You also want to think about the desired impression. What is your desired impression? If you know that people do make decisions, what do you want people to know about you? What do you want them to see about you? Because your clothing and your style can definitely bring that forth. So, appropriateness is one thing. Attractiveness. Now, I don't mean be beautiful. I mean, just think about, do my clothes fit me? Do the colors work? with my coloring? Do they flatter my body? Do they create a focal point to an area, especially if you're communicating? Keeping the focal point up here to the face, I think, is very, very important. Um, are you coordinated? Are you harmonious? I'm not saying you have to be perfect, but these are all the little tiny details that really add up to be big numbers. I always call them the little half percents that add up to, big numbers. And then the third thing is neat. So, is it orderly? Is your outfit orderly? Is your hair orderly? Is your makeup orderly? Is it clean? Are you pressed and unrumpled? Are your clothes in good repair? Are they uncluttered? So, things that some of us take for granted, and then other things that maybe, others of you haven't really thought about. So, remember, personal and professional image standards of dress, you need to think about, is it appropriate? Is it attractive? And is it neat? And that is really very simple to do. So, one of the things I always encourage my clients to think about is the night before, the next morning, think about what you have coming tomorrow. Where am I going to be going? Am I going to be sitting behind a Zoom camera? Am I going to a presentation? Am I going to be doing the presentation? Am I going to be meeting with a colleague for coffee? What is it that I'm going to be doing? That's important to factor in. So where am I going to be going? What will I be doing? Okay, am I going to be networking? Am I going to be signing a contract, or am I going to be presenting a contract? Am I going to be doing that presentation where I really want to make a big impact? Who am I going to be with? Okay, who are the people that you're going to be with? Are they colleagues? Are they the executives in your company? Are they friends? See, all of these little pieces fall into this equation to help you figure out how you're going to present yourself through your dress and through your grooming and make that first impression. The other question you want to ask yourself is, what do you want to accomplish? What kind of interaction are you going to have, and what do you want the outcome to be? And what statement or message do I want my clothes to make to support what my intention happens to be? So that is where the desired perception comes in for myself and for others. And then you have to think about, okay, well, what clothes do I have in my closet that are going to actually deliver on everything that I've just asked you to think about? Where will I be going? What will I be doing? Who will I be with? What do I want or need to accomplish? What message or statement do I need my clothes to make to support me in this endeavor? And then what's even more fun is to get to the point of identifying, well, once you pick out your clothes, be able to identify, why these clothes will actually do what you want them to do. Is it the color? Is it the structure? Is it the casualness of what you're going to be wearing? So when you can identify that, okay, a jacket or a suit, let's say, that has structure, or a blazer that has structure, when you can see that structure as being a very important role to give you strength or to give you power, if that's what you need, versus, let's say, a cardigan sweater that's a little more relaxed, but it also gives you that third piece, that finish piece. And that also is good in certain occasions. So you have to measure, okay, what is it? Is the cardigan going to serve me, or do I need the strength and the structure of a jacket? Now, I can tell you, at one of the events that I was at this week, I saw everything from women in leggings to men in suits. That's a big, big range. So I always encourage myself and my clients to to dress up one level, especially if I don't know who's going to be there or if I think I'm going to be meeting new potential people, then I think it's better to dress up a level because what that does is it shows respect not only for yourself, but it shows respect for the people that you are going to meet for the very first time. So think about your clothing as a way to demonstrate respect as well as to, get you through all of the other goals that you have for that particular event or that particular meeting. So those are a few things that I just wanted to share with you today. I can also say that one other thing you can do to strengthen or to soften a message is going to be the colors that you wear. So if you think about dark colors are more serious, lighter colors are more friendly. So in a networking situation, for me, it's always more important to be friendly, to be approachable, and to have people feel comfortable in approaching me and having a conversation with me. And the way I do that, and I did it this week, was I wore a blazer that had structure, but it was in a very pretty kind of a rose red color. And that was better, in my opinion, than me having shown up in black, which is very powerful and sometimes very off-putting. So let's see what we have here. Patty, thank you. That is no surprise. I make an effort every time I go out now. You're sick of sweats. Yes, I think we're all sick of sweats, and yet, at home they're certainly comfortable. But outside, going out, please don't. Please leave the yoga pants. Please use the sweats. Please use the casual sweater. Leave them all at home. And Krista says, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. People judge you. It's human condition. It has been proven over and over again that we are a fast-paced society. We want to make decisions quickly about what we see and who we see, and we want to decide, do we need to move on and meet the next person that we can relate to or that can relate to us. So it's a fact of life, and whether it's a good fact of life or not, it is what it is. So Wendy, you said agreed. What is a level? I'm not sure what you're asking there. What is a level? You want to explain that a little bit or post another question there? So any questions? I see several people, many of you on the call today or on the live today. So any questions you have for me that you might want to ask about how you can, let's see. I will be honest, I'm still wearing my yoga pants on my weekend runs to Lowe's and Home Depot. Okay, well, at least you're being honest about it. But the thing you want to think about is what happens if you run into a client? Would that be okay? And maybe it would, where you live or, what would be expected in your particular area. I remember the day that I did that. We were fairly new to this area. I went to the grocery store. I had gone exercising. I went from exercise to the grocery store. I had no makeup on. I had my hair pulled up, and I happened to run into a brand new client. And she looked at me like, is that you, Marion? And I went, yes, I guess it is. So what I learned from that was that depending on what you do and how you're seen in your business or your community, that's really important because my clients expect me to show up as an image consultant, as a stylist. And even though sometimes I want to be casual, just like everyone else, I don't get away with it so easily. So Krista, you have to ask yourself, how would that work if clients ran into you at Lowe's and Home Depot? Okay. Oh, Wendy said, you said to dress up one level. What did you mean? Just at a higher level. So maybe what I might be most comfortable in is a cardigan sweater or a twin set or something like that. But if I don't know who I might be seeing at this networking event or at this engagement of some sort, then I'm going to level up and actually put on a blazer. So that's what I mean by leveling up one, um, out of respect for myself and out of respect for the situation and out of respect for those that I might meet. And Patty, I think that's probably your question as well. You said, please explain level up. So just higher, a higher level of dress. So not casual, maybe not dressy, but somewhere in between. Okay. So, you want to have a variety of things in your closet to be able to support you for different things that may come up in your life. So, you don't want everything business casual, and yet you don't want everything traditional business either, because most of us aren't even doing that anymore. Most of us are, have gotten away from the suits. However, they are coming back, so we will see what's going to develop over this next year, whether people coming out of the pandemic are going to be adopting the suited look again, which is very much a trend right at the moment. And Wendy said, oh, Patty, yes. Level up can be remembering the jewelry or scarf too. Yes, it's the finished details. It's just adding that little pop that completes the outfit, that polishes it up, that really has it looking. So, for instance, I have on a top today, doesn't have a collar, and yet just by adding this scarf and this jewelry, I have leveled this blouse up or this top up. Does that make sense now? Hi, Jody. Wendy, are these structured blazers you reference? They don't have to be. They can be. It's really dependent on your body. It's dependent on, what makes you happy, the preferences. Obviously, structured blazers are the highest level of business dress that you can go. But many of us live in an area where it's not prevalent and not even necessary to do that. So it may be, for me, like what I was wearing the other night was just a very lightweight wool. It did have structure. It had one button, and that was it. But it made me feel good, and I felt that I was appropriate for the situation because, as I said, there were a lot of people there that were dressed down several levels. And then there were men, as I said, that were actually in their suits. So I felt like I was somewhere in between, that I fit in, that I was being respectful of those that I met, and that I was showing that I had respect for what I was doing, which was networking in a business situation. So I know that this topic could go on for hours and days, and I could be teaching you a lot of different things about it, but for today I like to keep these to no more than 20 minutes, and I know I've gone over. So I just want to say thank you for joining me, and if you've got more questions on this particular topic, let me know that you have the questions, and let me know if you'd like me to talk a little bit further on this topic, because I would be very happy to do that. So even though I call this Fashion Flair Friday, we weren't really talking about fashion today, but in my opinion, your professional image or your personal image, whichever the case may be, is very, very important, and style and image go hand in hand. So that's it for now. Happy Friday and have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you back here next Friday. Take care now. Bye-bye.